The last record Ricky can find shows that in 1861, all the Tomlinsons were still together. The older children were working, and the youngest two, Thomas and Mary Ann, were attending school. He's hoping the Liverpool archives might hold some information on what happened to the family next, and why Mary vanishes.
I've lived here practically all my life. I've never been in this room.
Isn't it gorgeous?
It's absolutely fantastic.
And this lovely dome.
Look at that. It's like going back in time, isn't it?
Can you hear the echo?
That's why you've got to be quiet in the library. I'm looking to try and find out what happened to me great-great-grandmother. There's no mention of her in the 1871 census.
Well, the obvious place to look is in the workhouse records, and we haven't found Mary in the workhouse records at all, but I've got something for you to look at.
Kirkdale Industrial Schools. What is an industrial school?
The idea underpinning the industrial school is that you train kids of the poor to be useful citizens. Boys typically are trained to be carpenters, girls are trained to be domestic servants.
Cheap labour, I'm
Cheap
afraid. I'm very
labour,
cynical.
yeah.
Yeah, Mary Ann Tomlinson, 1855. So this is the daughter of Mary.
This is Mary Ann.
When was Mary Ann admitted?
If we look in the admissions column,
1862. How old would she be there then? 7? Thinking heck. Deserted by mother. How could she be deserted by her mother?
this phrase, deserted by mother, suggests that Mary is alive. It's unlikely that Mary would have chosen to put her kids in here. If we look at the boys' register, we find Thomas, who's 2 years older than Mary Ann. So what we must assume at this stage is that she's in such a dire state of poverty and need that the only way for her kids to survive is to admit them to the industrial school.
Do we know what life would be like for them kids, their daily sort of lives here?
Pretty harsh. You might be interested in reading the report of a poor law inspector who came to Kirkdale in 1866.
I am unable to report that this school is in a satisfactory state. Some of the bedsteads are constructed to hold 3 children. The close, disagreeable and unwholesome atmosphere of some of the sleeping wards is aggravated by wet beds. These beds are not removed and changed daily, as they should be.
So these kids are sleeping in each other's urine?
Good God, I don't know. And was there no signs of them ever again? Have we got no signs?
We've no signs of her at all in the 1860s. But if we look at the register for births, marriages and deaths...
This is 1871,
This is
isn't it?
1871.
She's got married again. Get out of it. Age 44. Married to John McPhee. Unbelievable. Now that we know her married name, is there anything else we can find out about her?
So let's have a look in the census, the 1871, and see if we can find her.
Mary McPhee, yeah?
And there she is.
Yeah. According to this, she's had another 3 children. John, James and William. They'll be half-brothers with the rest of the Tomlinsons. That's 10 kids she's had, isn't it?
It is. It's a second
What's
family.
it? According to this, the eldest child there is 9, which means must have been born in 1862.
That's the date that the kids get admitted to the industrial school.
Oh, yeah. She was obviously pregnant.
And this probably explains Mary's dilemma. So Mary, as a widow, was in an abyss of poverty.
Yeah.
She was getting some relief from the parish. One of her options would be to find a new breadwinner, a new dad for the kids. She seems to have done this. Big risk.
And he wouldn't take the kids on.
She's pregnant. She's not married. So this is an illegitimate child. And the poor law is nothing if not moral. And they would have withdrawn her relief the minute they realised she was pregnant.
Oh, right, yeah.
Mary has been left utterly destitute, with no choice but to put her 2 youngest children into the industrial school.
They've gone into the workhouse and she's had a whole new family.
He only marries Mary once they leave the poor house and they can earn their own living.
It speaks volumes about him, doesn't it?
It does.
It makes me very, very angry to realise the way she's ended up through no fault of her own. This guy she's married, in my opinion, to use a Liverpool expression, is a bit of a shit. It's very sad, isn't it?
The family, as far as we can see from these documents, have broken up.
Have you any idea what happened to me great-grandfather Richard?
If we look further in births, deaths and marriages in the register, I think you might be interested to see this.
This is 1884.
1884.
So Richard Tomlinson, who's now 32, he's marrying a girl called Sarah Ellen Lavery, my great-grandmother.
Your great-grandmother.
Yeah. Richard's occupation, he's now a carter. Look at the witnesses. William McVeigh, it's his half-brother.
And actually, later on, we find another half-sibling living with Mary Ann.
Oh, good.
We thought the family had fallen apart.
Yeah.
And yet what this shows is that they're obviously still in touch.
My great-great-grandmother has managed to keep the family together somehow by hook or by crook.
I think we must conclude that Mary is an extraordinary woman. But sadly, the same year Richard gets married, Mary died of a stroke.
What a life. What a life. I feel quite saddened to know the way the majority of my ancestors seem to have lived. They were toilers, grafters, labourers, call it what you will, carters and whatever, and yet they had such a pitiful life. Now, I've got to finish this journey. My great-granddad, Richard, did he fare any better? Did the city treat him any better? Did conditions get any better? That's what I want to know.